Where else could we start but at the beginning? Morgan's founder, Henry Frederick Stanley Morgan, or HFS Morgan for short, was born in August 1881. The son of a church curate, HFS studied to become an engineer and, after doing an apprenticeship with railway engineers William Dean and George Jackson of GWR, he then set up a car garage in Malvern in 1905. Servicing and selling Wolsleys, Siddeley's, Rovers and Derricks, with his new business partner Leslie Bacon, another former railway apprentice. The duo would create the three-wheeled Morgan runabout. The Morgan runabout prototype was built in 1909 before production started in 1910, a three-wheeler with a tubular steel chassis and a 7 PS, 5 kilowatts, Peugeot V-twin engine. Although steered with a tiller, it was relatively stable, owing to the fact the single wheel was at the rear, relatively inexpensive and had a power-to-weight ratio of 90 horsepower per ton. Leslie Bacon pulled out of the partnership before production started, but that didn't stop HFS. The prototype runabout had got the ball rolling. As the runabout proved something of a hit, HFS started to look at other types of vehicle. One such was the cycle car, essentially a further developed runabout but with luxuries like bodywork, a steering wheel and even a two-speed gearbox. In Morgan's own words, the speeds were fast and very fast. Having secured 10 British and world records for cycle cars by 1913, as well as 24 gold medals in various reliability trials, the editor of Cycle Car magazine W.G. McMinnies won the International Cycle Car Grand Prix at Amiens in France. His success, and subsequent column inches, gave Morgan a lot of publicity, and to celebrate the Cycle Car Grand Prix was created. Motorsport might not have featured in Morgan's history in quite the same way as it has for, say, Ferrari, but it has been a part of the company's history more or less ever since. In 1936, the Morgan 4/4 was created, so called because it had 4 wheels and 4 cylinders. Shown at exhibitions in London and France, it was the first Morgan to use the steel chassis that was used right up, albeit with tweaks along the way, until 2020. The 2-seat 4/4 Roadster was followed by a 4-seater, and then in 1938 the 4/4 Drophead Coupe was born. With sales of the 3-wheeled machines in decline, it was the 4/4 that propelled Morgan forward into a new age of car production. Fast forward 24 years to 1962 and there was another Morgan at La Sarthe, this time a +4 Super Sports, the plus denoting a healthy power jump over the standard 4. At the hands of Lawrence and Richard Shepherd Barron, the +4 TOK 258 covered 2,261 miles at an average speed of 94 miles per hour, enough to secure an astonishing 2.0-liter class win and, again, 13th overall. As if that wasn't enough of a reliability triumph, 37 of the 55 entries failed to finish. The car was then driven back to the UK on public roads. The Morgan +4+? Surely that's a subbing error? Actually no, it isn't. The +4+, as strange as the name might seem, was something quite different for Morgan. Put simply, Morgan took a +4 chassis and draped it in a new fiberglass body, built by EB Plastics Limited in Stoke-on-Trent. The result was a car that weighed just 816 kilograms. Announced initially at the 1963 Earl's Court Motor Show, the car was not a commercial success, with only 26 built in a 4-year period. But if you don't experiment with fresh ideas, you never learn anything new, and to our eyes, it's quite a cool creation. The Plus 4 was introduced in 1950, and while popular and fast, by the mid-1960s it was starting to get a tad long in the tooth, a little sammy. The Triumph TR engine that powered it was also nearing the end of its life. Thankfully, some clever spark had the idea of squeezing a 3.5-liter Rover V8 into a Plus 4 chassis, creating the new Plus 8. Introduced in 1968, the Plus 8 weighed 900 kilograms, and while the Rover unit wasn't the most sophisticated, or the most powerful, engine around, it certainly gave more grunt. The Plus 8 became a staple of the Morgan range, and, with various tweaks, it remained in production until 2004. That's right, the Plus 4 and its V8 engine was sold non-stop for 36 years. Launched at the 2000 Geneva Motor Show, the Aero 8. With its slightly cross-eyed look, a look which gave Aero advantage, said Morgan, the Aero 8 was the brainchild of Charles Morgan and engineer Chris Lawrence, the same man who'd driven TOK 258 to a class win at Le Mans in 1962. It had an aluminium tub, a wooden frame and aluminium body panels, and a positively raucous 4.4-liter BMW V8 engine. Production ran until 2018, not without a few fun variations. One such variation was this, the Morgan Aeromax. The Aeromax was first seen at the Geneva Motor Show in 2005, then a one-off for a single customer, but the design proved so popular that, with permission from the original client, Morgan announced it would put 100 cars into production. With a swooping, fixed aluminium roof and a split rear screen, as well as a number of other changes to the bodywork and the interior, the design was the first work of a then 21-year-old engineering graduate called Matthew Humphreys. Underneath, of course, it had BMW V8 power, with 380 PS, 279 kilowatts, compared to the Aero 8's 325 PS, 239 kilowatts. If you see one on the road today, consider yourself very lucky indeed. You'd have to be mad to build a car with 3 wheels in the 21st century, right? Well, sometimes it's good to be a little bit left of center. Having started off with 3-wheelers before the First World War, Morgan revived the 3-wheeler in 2011. With a 2.0-liter SNSV twin engine with 69 PS, 51 kilowatts, it had 83 PS, 61 kilowatts, at launch, until more recent emission regulations sucked away some of the power, stuck on at the front, a Mazda 5-speed manual gearbox and rear-wheel drive, not to mention a dry weight of only 585 kilograms. The bonkers little machine can get to 0 to 62 miles per hour in just 7 seconds. Perhaps the best feature is the starter button, hidden under a safety catch and styled to look like a bomb release button on a World War II bomber. Production ends in 2021, so if you want one you'll need to get one quick. The Plus 6 was revived for 2019, and like the Aeromax and Aero 8, it uses an aluminium chassis. This one is different, however. The new Plus 6 uses the all-new CX generation bonded aluminium chassis, which isn't just lighter than the old Plus 6 chassis, says Morgan, but twice as rigid too. What's more, while the looks aren't too dissimilar from previous Morgans, and the aluminium chassis is covered with an ash frame and aluminium bodywork, the mechanicals are much more modern. Lift the bonnet and you'll find the same BMW 3.0-liter, twin-turbo straight-six as the Z4 and Toyota Supra, as well as the same 8-speed automatic gearbox. The difference is that the Plus 6 weighs 1,075 kilograms, around 400 kilograms less than both the Z4 and Supra, Oh, and it doesn't have traction control. Prices start at just under £85,000, which is considerably more than its German or Japanese cousins.